Hello everyone, Ron the Builder back again with my good friend Rick Hoskins. I would like to introduce you guys. He is the king, the filter king from Miami. He is an entrepreneur, business owner, so I want to just bring him my podcast and interview him about his success in a short period of time. And also we work together in some projects, and that's how we become actually friends, and then who knows what the future bring. So
Yeah, well, thank you for the intro, Roland. I've known you now, what, 3 or 4 years?
yeah, a little bit more since 20. Yeah, you're right. 2020 we met first.
Yeah, right before COVID, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Roland,
Actually-
you're a fantastic builder. You done a couple projects for me, and I appreciate it. And you're in the middle of doing one right now.
Yeah, actually we're doing he has a weekend home in Isla Morada, so that's the project we're doing right now. We met a funny, interesting situation. Like his best friend find me on Google, or I think Google, and he introduced me to him to tell him like, hey, I found someone. His best friend, he never actually hired me, but he did, and we done like like a third project together.
Yeah,
And
Several.
then when we started, actually, he was explaining to me like he's about to start a filter business. So any one of you to watching this one, you open your AC room, you pull out the filter, it's coming from him. So he started his business a few years ago, I think 2021 or two, something like that.
yeah, right in there.
Yeah, with the friend who find me on Google actually, and now he's you guys. I heard it like you're not doing together, but the point is your network is your network. It's 100% sure.
It's all about who you know.
If you can just tell us a little bit your business, how you started, and how it's incredible if
Yeah, of course.
possibly just you
I-
skyrocket.
I moved out of Miami back in 2009. I was 19. Started a web agency called On the Map. We specialize in building websites, getting people found on Google. Our targets were mainly attorneys. They got a lot of cash to spend for marketing. Fast forward 2000, I think 2019. I started FilterKing.com, and we started selling filters online. And at that point, we're just drop shipping. So we had a manufacturer up in Alabama that would ship out all our filters to our customers. It's really taken off since then. About 2 years ago, we started manufacturing our own filters right here in Miami. We just moved into a 100,000 square foot facility. We're making about 200,000 filters a month right now, doing about
That's a good
2,000
number.
orders a day, through FedEx. An average order is like 4 filters. Is a year's supply. So we got customers all over, and it's really growing. It's growing like crazy.
How did you come up with this filter idea? Or why this? Why did you start with filtering?
So, I was in internet marketing since 2009. I actually sold that agency, but at the time I wanted to get into some kind of e-commerce. I saw an ad for a company called Filter Easy. They had like a filter subscription, and after that, I had a little bit of background when I was growing up. My dad's an AC contractor in Central Florida.
Oh, so you were
So
kinda
I knew a little bit about AC, and I saw that ad for filters online for a subscription on a subscription model. So I'm like, well, I have an agency, I could build the website, and I've always wanted to sell something online. So I started that way, just testing the water, seeing how it goes, and it really took off. Probably half our sales are our website, half our sales are like Amazon.
So you guys fabricated in the beginning, or you just bought and resell the filter in like 19?
Well, so we had a manufacturer up in Alabama that would fulfill our orders. So we would just say, hey, ship this customer these filters, and they would do it for us.
Oh, so you buy at the beginning, resell it, but now you started like a few years ago, like 2022 or so.
Yeah, about
You
2 years
started
ago,
in-
we
yeah.
actually started manufacturing our own filters. Right now, we run 7 days a week. We're up to about 120 people. We just build filters all day long.
Yeah, I saw it. I was in actually the facility last time. I was like, it's giant, 120 people, and then it's just crazy. And it's like you grow it like to this level from like in 2 years, 3 years, something like that.
Yeah, 2 years ago, we had no staff, and at least in the filter side, and now we're up to about 120. Like I said, we run 7 days a week, so it's a lot of production.
From the beginning was like rise up straight, no issue.
There was
But what
always
was your-
issues.
what was
Always
your-
issues.
What was your like biggest story we'll share? Like what was your biggest failure during these 3 years?
when I first got into the business, we had to figure out how to get the filter frames. It was actually where we started. We started that before we even got into making filters, because that customer, the client up in, I guess the vendor up in Alabama who was shipping the filters to our customers, they couldn't get the die cuts, which is the filter frame. So I flew up there and was like, hey, why our order's not going out? And they basically said that we just can't get the frames. We have a lot of different sizes. We just can't get them. So I said, how much a year do you buy in frames? And they said about $2 million a year they buy in frames. So I'm like, well, if I start making frames, will you buy them all for me? He's like, absolutely. So I got my first $2 million account.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I had to figure out how to get I thought the hardest part was going to be getting the machinery, because I never did anything manufacturing. The machinery you have to buy, they're like the size of pickup trucks, are huge. And so eventually we figured out the machinery I had to get. And then the hardest part was to get the paper, because at the time during, COVID was just starting, and basically e-commerce took off. Everybody was buying everything online. So like any kind of packaging product was just gone. You couldn't get it. So Westrock is basically a mill. They own the forest. They cut down the trees. They replant it, and then they make paper basically.
So paper is here from the U.S. or
it's domestic paper now. That mill where we're buying from is domestic, and they gave us 100 tons a month. So basically what that means is every month we can order 100 tons, which is 5 truckloads. So that actually got us through our start. And then if literally we got into the business 2 months later, we would not have had any allocation. So like it was just perfect timing. Like the stars aligned,
That's why you cannot waste time. And this man is
just
like
do
always like do it, call.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
now you have how many machines? Like, what's the procedure? Like how you start? Like you get the big roll. I get it. I guess I saw you have a huge. You have like 2-3 like huge machine. You put the paper in, slide it up. So it's like a whole process.
Yeah, so the process starts with a roll of paper. A roll of paper is, almost 6-7 feet round. They're about 5,000 pounds. So you got a huge forklift with a clamp that grabs it. So you put in this machine called a sheeter. It converts rolls of paper into sheets of paper. After that, it goes to printing. So you basically print, the filter frame. So 20 by 20 by 1.
Filterking.com.
Yeah, filterking.com. Then after that, it goes to die cutting, which that basically just stamps out the frame. So basically it gives you that grid pattern. And after that, it goes basically to Filter King to make the actual filter. So there's 2 sides of business. One, we sell direct to consumer finished filters. The other side of the business, it's the sister company called PaperPoint, where we sell to other manufacturers in the country that build filters. And there's only 4 companies in the country that make filter frames. We're the 4th one. So, and that's really growing as well. So there's 2 sides.
What is your goal? Because since you grow so fast, and I know you, I don't think you're going to stop here.
No, well, we kind of vertically integrate because we make our own frames. No other filter manufacturer does that. Next, I want to get into making maybe expanded metal, which is another component of the filter, which we could sell to our customers. And then eventually maybe the media, which is the white part.
Are you planning to open another location, or all of them is Miami?
Right now, we're just based in Miami. There's a lot of talks maybe early next year to do maybe like a West Coast operation. You cut down on a lot of shipping costs. An average shipment for us is like $12. In Florida, it's probably $8. So if we moved out to Arizona, is where we're thinking, we can get to California for $8, which is huge savings when you're doing thousands of boxes a day.
So there is a lot of room actually. If I want to get into like filter business, like I can let's start it. It's only 4 major company. Would you recommend to people if they want to start, get into this business or become like a wholesalers?
It's a tough business. Until you're doing at least 10, 15 million in revenue, you're not going to be profitable. There's a lot of moving parts. So you got to be doing a lot of revenue in order for it to be broke even. So if you could stomach it, absolutely.
Oh yeah. So it's not easy. So what is your experience of doing business with people? Like, assuming like this giant operation, you're not the only one person who does it. So I'm assuming like you have 120 people, you have like project managers, you have a lot of stuff. Like, how are you gonna put together this whole thing? Is like, how do you run this whole business? Like,
yeah, you got to hire people. A lot of times when we started, we thought we could just hire, experienced people like such as machine operators. Like you need to get a guy that can run the machine. Originally, when I bought it, I thought I had to run it. So, which the manufacturer flew down. They were training me how to run it, and they're like, "Oh, you're never going to get this. We've never sold a machine to the owner and he has to operate it. And then that actually installer knew a local guy. He's like, this guy's looking for a job. So, we hired him right away, which took over basically running the machine. The guy's still with us. He's really good. But yeah, you got to hire people. And you also, once you get some establishment, you have to be able to train people from scratch to basically take over any operation. So
Yeah, you told it earlier, like your every week start with 6 new people, firing 6 people. It's like people non-stop going. It's also
hire fast, fire faster. You gotta
hire first sight. That's good. That's good.
There's unfortunately, you just gotta. They have to have the right attitude, and they have to want to grow, and they have to want to learn, and go that extra mile.
And you can mix it up emotional experience with the business. Otherwise, you're not gonna survive, I guess.
I don't think I've ever regretted firing someone. It's like normally when you fire them, you should have done it a long time ago.
Yeah, that's true. I made that mistake also.
You always hope they'll get better. You hope and wish,
chance.
But normally, as soon as you think it twice, it's like.
Do you have any like hiring process, like a hiring processing and firing processing? Like you have like a employee notebook or what they're supposed to follow, or?
So when we hire someone, we'll do several interviews. Depending on the role, we have this personality test we give them. It's like 10 questions. Oh, sorry, it's 2 questions with 10 answers. And so it takes about 10, 15 minutes to fill out. And then with that, we can tell, like, are they a driver? Do they have attention to detail? Are they social? So depending on the role you want, like if they're sales, you want to be social. If you want them to lead a team, you want to be a driver. So if you want attention to detail, maybe they're good at accounting.
I have the same hiring system. Actually, I got it from Grant Cardone. It's like
a
10 question, and you can say what type of person you hire. I have the whole set, but mine is way more deep details. So I literally can do a personal like testing. I can figure out 100% sure how long you're gonna be there. How it's amazing. I can share with you. I have like a whole set.
Yeah, send it over. I'd love to take it and see.
It's crazy. Since some of you maybe know I work with Grant Cardone. I went through the whole 10x program, everything to scale my company to the 10x, and then actually helped me. So we have like a full KPI tracker, a hiring processing. Like I have like a whole structure how to run. And actually, I oversized my business because I was in the same drive as you. I want to like think big, go big. So I structured in the beginning to ready for $100 million company. So when I'm growing, I don't have to deal and think how I'm gonna running it because I have the system built in the backing. So that's why in the beginning everybody says like, why are you going so deep? The reason why, because when I took off, I don't want to deal with this. I want to get ready. I want everybody knows what they're doing. We have a virtual assistant, like 2 in backing. I have the office, and everybody knows what to do. So I'm every 2 weeks actually asking my team like, would you feel if I go out of the business for a month, can you run my business? And until they get all comfortable to say like yes, then I'm pushing that moment, they'll kind of feel like comfortable. So I'm trying to get step back, but I oversee them, make sure they do.
Give them a test. Leave for a week or 2.
You have to test them always because otherwise you're not able to grow and they don't take it seriously. So I'm kind of punishing my people the way, like I have rules. And if you pass those rules, and if I say I'm going to punish you, you have to punish. Because if you're not doing that, you're going to get weak. And they know it. Even they don't, that type of person, they will not think you are weak. But inside the back of the mind, they know like, oh, you're supposed to do it and you didn't do it.
You got to keep them on their toes.
You have to. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. Yeah. So and otherwise, like you said earlier, I should hire. So when you fire the person, that's mean you're already late because you should have to do it earlier.
Normally, it's how it is.
Yeah.
One other thing we do, we operate, it's called EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System, I think it stands for. And I ran all my business on that. I found that when I started on the map. But basically what it is, it's like a framework to run your business. It has like a scorecard. You have a weekly, we call level 10s, where you meet with the executive team. And in there you set goals or to-dos. They're due in 2 weeks. And you follow up on them every Tuesday. We have our meetings. And that's really helped us to instead of being reactive, go to proactive, because you're constantly looking for problems and like, all right, how do we solve this? Not for today, but for the next year. Because as you grow, your old systems start breaking down, and you got to always refine them. Because what happens is like we're running into an issue right now. We used to send 1,000 boxes a day. Now we're sending 2,000, and our old systems just can't keep up. And so we've been throwing bodies at it. Just put more people on the floor, which raises your payroll cost. But it's not really the root problem. So now we're like, all right, we need to get better at pre-boxing. We need to get better at printing labels in a certain order, like pick tickets. So if we have to pick 100 different items, we should give them the pick tickets in order of the shelves. That way they're not running around. We have like 10 rows of shelves. So if they're going to row 1, row 10, row 4, it doesn't make sense. So you got to so we're just, constantly improving systems, and you got to always be looking what's taking up the most amount of time and solve that problem.
Are you the CEO and the CFO, or you have someone who helping you make this decision? Ideas.
Well, so what happened was actually, I think it was last Tuesday, we had to cancel our level 10, our US meeting, because we're like, hey, we have to get, I think it was 2,500 boxes out. So literally everybody in the office went out there and started packing boxes. And I'm like, holy cow, I need to be out here months ago. This is the systems aren't set up right. Like, I was very eye-opening. So sometimes you got to get in the trenches and get dirty and figure out, whoa, there's got to be a better way.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing what I did to set it up in the system. So if I know grow in the future, I will be ready. And that's where I actually have someone. He worked for like a 500 Fortune company, like a CFO guy. Actually was my customer. So I asked him to help me, and this is his job, to take the companies to the next level and be ready for the growth and organize them, like as a CFO, to make sure you're capable to run the company, go and grow it. Otherwise, it's going to fall apart, or you have like downside like you had it in this time. What was the biggest loss because of unorganized situation or something went wrong? What was your biggest loss?
It's probably about a month ago. We well, there's always issues. For whatever reason, we use ShipStation to manage our shipments. We printed out 1,000 labels. I think it was 2,000 labels. No, it was 1,800 labels, and for whatever reason, 800 of them just didn't print. So
it was like
we sent out 1,000 boxes. We didn't find out for about 3 weeks, because customers start leaving us all these bad reviews. Hey, I purchased. It says I got a tracking number, but I never got the item. And we're like, oh, that's weird. And then, all of a sudden, we're getting, a couple hundred complaints, then 500 complaints. We're like, what is going on? And we realized that there was some glitch with ShipStation where it just didn't print the labels, but it still made the tracking numbers. So it told all these customers we shipped their boxes, and then we never left the warehouse. So it was, about 800 orders that just vanished. So we had to, obviously reship them and issue a lot of refunds. But so that's like another thing. It's where it's like, just with the increased volume, you have new issues. So now we're implementing basically a last scan. So every box that leaves the warehouse, before it gets on the FedEx truck, we scan it. And now we know
it left the house.
We know it left. So it's like it's just another layer that will be better. We won't miss packages. So everything's a learning curve. It's just like when you're shipping 100 boxes, it's easy. But when you ship thousands, it's just
a whole different game. On the other hand, what was your biggest win?
Biggest win? I mean, probably just, I sold my agency. I did really well with that. And then really just focusing on this full time. Like, it's just really growing, compounding. Every year it's really taken off.
So you agree with that? Everybody says, don't pick like 2, 5, 7, whatever type of many projects, focus on one thing and max it out. So you agree with that, right? Because that's really help you.
I think you're working
the business.
3 or 4 projects, but not more than that. I always thought I get bored working on one thing at a time, but I got 2 things that are really taking most of my time right now, and I enjoy focusing for sure. But I always like to have a little side something going on just to be easy. You learn new traits, new skills by experimenting, but you have to have something going right before you try to do something new.
Yeah, I believe like anything you want to do, go all in and focus in and then just give the maximum and consistency. Otherwise, if you're just focusing everywhere, I don't think you can. I mean, everybody has a different skill set on focusing things, but that's my experience. The more I nail down even my business, because we provide a lot of service, and the moment I just started focusing down, I was expecting less income and actually increased income. So.
You got to be laser focused until you figure out the strategy and get it going. Otherwise, you're right. You're just all over the place. You're not getting anything done. like you're just chasing your tail.
All right. So, what will be the next advice? If, for example, like me or Jay, let's say start business, what would be the best advice? Because you give us a good advice earlier about how to micromanage like accounting. What would be the best advice what you can give someone who start business or want to be an entrepreneur?
They just got to get out there and do it. Like they just can't take no for an answer. You got to pound the pavement, call everybody. You got to bring in revenue. If you're not bringing in customers, you're not bringing in money, it's not a business, it's a hobby. It's like you got to bring in money. And so like a lot of that, it's cold calling, going to conferences, growing your network. I mean, you just got to, anywhere you can potentially get a client, you got to go get it.
I agree 100% sure, because when I started and I went to Grant Cardone, I was like, man, I'm doing like 1.5 sale this year. I was like so proud. We went to the same room with a lot of entrepreneurs. They roll up the table, the big numbers, and I was like, in the beginning, I was like 500 to 1.5. It's a hobby. I was like, what? So so I pumped my chest. I was like, I don't even do that. They don't even considering me like a business. So that was like,
well, it's eye opening, but
yeah,
probably
like
rubbing shoulders with those guys are helpful, because it
like,
elevates your thinking. Like you got to be around people that are doing better than you.
Yeah, that was like what I didn't do, but I started going out and socializing, and not necessarily just because I want to learn, because I realize I know like 85% what they telling me and teaching me. It's really to be in the environment, to the mindset of the people, and just to be expose yourself. Otherwise, you're gonna be sitting in your room like meeting with whoever people, and it's not gonna be elevate you. So it's true also what everybody says about whoever is your closest friends, and you
well, they say what the five people you spend the most time with is an average of you.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That's true.
And it's true.
If you hang out with losers, you can be a loser.
And I stopped to cutting down people. I was like, what I'm gonna get benefits for this benefits. So I started to like changing and the people around me to get better surrounding. It's unbelievable. It's changed everything. So I highly recommend to everyone.
Absolutely.
So that's what I will be my next step, what I will do. And definitely I was thinking to going out in your warehouse and doing like a little like process, how to shooting a video, like how filters come to the truck, getting to the machine, getting cut out, and see how actually like I don't know your net worth, but I would assume, let's say the $10 million company, this is the process how to build up. So, all right. So what would you say about the bad part and dark side of filter making? Because every business has dark side. Like every business has, like in my business, people like everybody knows construction is a very deep. What is the deepest, like craziest thing what you want to share and you can share with us?
I don't know. Filters are pretty, not much. It's supposed to be clean. Cleans the air.
Yeah, it's supposed to be nice and clean. But every business has like in construction, I have to deal with customers, and then just the customer service, and then they yell you out everything. To work in residential, it's crazy. But in your end, like I
guess
you don't have customers because you sell everything for retails, right?
We have wholesale accounts and e-com, like direct to consumer. I think probably our scariest part, we are manufacturing. There's a lot of big machinery, so we're always worried someone could get hurt potentially. You could lose an arm or a leg. If you get ran over by a forklift. So I guess the biggest fear is everyone's safe, which we do like these. I think every 2 weeks we do like a safety
test, right?
meeting where it's like, if we see anything crazy in the forklift, we send them to the forklift driving school. So
Did you ever have any accident or not yet?
The closest thing we had was we got these glue machines, and what they do is it glues one side of the filter, and it basically there's two sides of the filter. It's almost like making a pizza box, and so it glues one side. And before we had, we didn't make anyone tie up their hair, and these girls, they would bend over to send the glue through the machine, and one of the girls got their hair sucked in, and it just like it's a roller, so it pulls your hair in. And that was really scary. Luckily, our basically the floor manager, she's seen this before. She came over with a razor knife, cut off her hair.
Oh.
But that's the scariest thing. So ever since then, we had to implement new rules. Anybody on the manufacturing floor has got to tie up their hair, can't be below your shoulders. So you learn from your issues, you learn from your mistakes.
You are pretty like, I would say, like new in the business, because you grow like so fast in like 2-3 years. So hopefully that was the worst.
That was the worst, and that was scary because you don't want anyone to get hurt. You care about your people, and so you just got to be safe. So we started implementing safety meetings. I think we had our first fire drill last month. It's like reminds me of being a kid in school. Like they pull the alarm, and then you teach people where to go.
Oh, how to exit
in
the
case
place.
of a fire. Yeah, so it's like all that stuff. I guess I'm new to manufacturing, but it's OSHA. Those guys are like the government who like control the safety, and there's all kinds of rules and regulations, and you got to follow those.
You had an OSHA meeting yet?
No. So we're very safe. So
you don't want that.
You don't want OSHA.
I had one. So
if OSHA shows up, it's going to be expensive.
They don't leave without pay. They don't leave without like check. I know, because I had once, and I would say lucky. It's cost me, if I remember, it was like in 18 in the beginning, and I got charged like $3,000.
Wow.
But I was like, holy moly. And they come and they literally find something, just make sure you pay.
Well, I mean, if a lot of the extension cords have that safety thing, if they find that without the little safety tag, it's like $3,000 fine.
But if they come, did you know that if OSHA show up once, there's no way they're not gonna show up twice.
When you're on the list, you're on the list.
Yeah, so
they're gonna come back.
And what it looks like you're running this large company. I would say like 120 employees is a large level. What was the difference like running like a smaller and running the bigger? Is just organization or what is other things you have to change and follow up, but you never thought you have to?
So
what was like a biggest surprise? Like,
I guess
you never thought you have to do it.
When I was running on the map, I think at our height we were at 60 people. It was 30 in the U.S., 30 in Riga,
Overseas.
which is Latvia. That's where our dev team was. So with those guys, they're all like young professionals in the marketing space. They're not too crazy. In the manufacturing, they're all most of them are entry level assembly workers. So there's a lot of issues they have day to day. Like if it's raining, they might not come in. If their kid's sick, they're not coming in. So like there's a lot of like personnel issues that you don't really see, I guess, more in a professional environment. But in manufacturing, it's any reason someone's not coming in, or like what we like in the last couple of weeks, like some of our best like assemblers, they've been with us over a year. They're like, oh, one's moving to Alabama, one's having a baby, one's just left. So it's like there's constant turnover in more of the entry level jobs. So you always got to be battling, bringing in new people and getting ones that stick.
That's what I realized in my business. If you deal with lawyers, you don't have to repeat anything like 15 times because
they're professionals.
They're professional. When you work with, and it doesn't take it personally, when you work with construction people, the education level and understanding is a different level. Assuming it's the same in your business, like you have to do a lot of babysitting, assuming like to explain to people like, hey, how to do. And what is simple to you is absolutely not simple to them. That's what I realized in my industry. It should be similar than in yours, right?
Yeah, I mean, every industry, there's different, different kinds of people. And some you really got to lead to the water, lead to the well to take a drink.
Yeah, that's a good one. We have to go take a drink sometimes. How do you managing because assuming 120 employee cause a lot of backing, meaning on the payrolls, payments, everybody, you have to collect a lot of money. Assuming you have like a full accounting team because this one to managing is you have to have a lot of cash flow.
We have a really lean management team. It's honestly too lean. We need to get some more people in there. But I mean, we might only have 5 or 6 office people. One's the plant manager, one does purchasing, One just is more like the front desk receptionist. She basically, every day we get about 10 people walking, one to work. A lot of them are referrals from people who already work there. And then I have an executive assistant. So, a lot of things we automate as much as we can. Technology really helps kill the headcount as far as office. We have this cool time clock software. I think it's called Work Easy. Basically, you put your fingerprint on it, checks you in. When you leave, it checks you out. So with that, I think it connects to Paychex, and then Paychex is able to pay all the people. And that's a huge, he's like trying to, manage 100 timesheets be impossible. So we got this automatic, time clock software. It's amazing.
What system are you guys using?
I think it's called Work Easy.
I heard it.
And it's basically, it's a static time clock, but I think they have an iPhone app too. But for people that are at one location, it's great. They come in, they check in. We had one issue where people would check in 30 minutes early before their shift, and then like, what are they doing?
It doesn't track the location. The system.
Well, no, the system. It's actually on the wall, so you got to go physically walk to the wall. But they were just checking in early, and so we started looking at our time logs. We're like, man, why is this guy? Why do we have 15 people hitting overtime every week? Like our hours, that doesn't make sense. So I mean, it ended up being like $1,500 a week in overtime. So we realized people were checking in like 30 minutes early. And so we're like, all right, now we set a rule in the time clock. You can't check in but 10 minutes early or 10 minutes after your shift. And then you have to get a manager to come check you in. Because with manufacturing, like you really got to watch the pennies. It's all about the pennies. It's a penny business, and so labor is your biggest expense.
Always. The labor is always.
Same with your business, I'm sure. It's all labor.
Yeah. Like it's huge. That's the only one system you use, or using multiple systems to run this whole?
Well, so
company?
Other systems, like we do have a dev team. So like our website's all custom. That connects into all the marketplaces like Walmart, Target, Amazon, which pulls all the orders to our website. And then we built systems to where, it prints it out on the floor. We got scanners where they can scan something and it'll print out like basically little work orders or so if you, for instance, like we sell a lot of custom filters. So half our business is standard filters, which is like things you can find at Home Depot. Home Depot probably has like 25 sizes. We literally can make any size filter. So every month, I think we make about 16,000 different size filters. And so how you do that is you cut a standard filter into like a smaller filter, and then you got to relabel it. So we made a system where it basically makes the work order. It tells you what standard filter to get, how many inches to cut off. You scan it again. It prints out the new sticker of the size, so you can put it over the old size.
Oh, cool. So basically 2 systems plus QuickBook.
Yeah,
enough to run the whole company.
We keep investing more and more into our internal custom software. Like you think about Amazon, they're not working on an out-of-box solution.
Yeah.
We tried a couple of them. We tried Fishbowl. We're still kind of on it, but we're getting off of it. It's not tailored enough to our system. So our whole back office ordering will go through our website. We just keep building onto it.
That's cool. Tell us about a little bit like the companies you work with, meaning like who's ordering for you, because you just mentioned earlier you have Walgreens, you have some major.
So those are just online. So like Walmart.com or Target.com or Amazon. So like we'll place our products on there, and anybody online, their customers will purchase it from us. Like we're not in Walmart, but we're on Walmart.com. So they're online. Yeah, just the online. We really don't want to go to retail because like our specialty is really the oddball sizes, like the stuff you just can't find. It's a lot higher margins items for us. The stuff that are in the shelves, they want to buy it almost for nothing because it's kind of like a lost leader for Home Depot, like filters. So it's just, they're not willing to pay us enough for it. So that's not really our focus. Our focus is sell direct to consumer online. And we actually do have a couple sales guys locally that go to like, all the high rises around Miami, and that side of the business is growing. I think we just hit like $100,000 a month in sales. So that's starting to grow the wholesale side of the business.
Also, you have people here in Miami, wholesalers, they selling to the buildings, right?
So yeah, we have a couple sales guys. They go door to door, and they'll go to like some of the high rises, and they'll talk to the building engineer. They all need filters. We mainly do the common areas in a lot of buildings. So maybe not the individual apartments, because that's normally.
Now you put me something in my head, so I'm gonna call my assistant, because I have collected last year. I told him, got me 1,000 real estate agent. Dayton, Broward County. Give me all the real estate agent list. Give me all the high-rise managers' phone number, So I made him to call all the buildings. Oh, I want to talk to the engineers. Who's this? So I get all these people phone numbers. So I'm gonna make him to call them up, all of them. And
The engineers are the way to go.
Yeah.
A lot of times we found you just walk into the loading dock and their office is right normally next to it. So you just walk in the loading dock
Yeah,
and
they
hey,
always
who's their head
do.
engineer and what's his name? And then, boom, it just goes from there.
That's a good one. So I'll may get you some filters. That's cool. We didn't talk about like expenses. Like how much is your expenses like monthly or like weekly? I assuming like 120 employee in the payroll. It's a big number.
Yeah, I mean, our current payroll's probably almost 100,000 a week. Our FedEx bill's another 100,000 a week. We ship a lot of boxes, and yeah, it just goes and goes and goes. A lot of times you just got to keep material costs down. I've been pretty successful in the last couple of months, because we've grown. I've been able to go back to a lot of suppliers and renegotiate our rates. So we brought like our corrugate down, the glue, the adhesive that goes in the filters, the media was brought down, and then even the paper. We used to buy domestically from WestRock. Now we buy from Sweden. And it's actually way better quality paper, and it's a lot cheaper than what I can get domestically.
Oh, I see. So you have a lot of moving parts. Like you have to order materials, set up everything. I assume the warehouses, I don't know if you own it or renting it. The employees, like you have like a whole structure of.
Oh yeah, there's
like
lots of moving parts, and the thing is, when we order something, it takes a month to come in. So you have to forecast. It's like, all right, so like I know I sold 180,000 filters last month. How many am I going to sell next month? And then do I have the right materials? And it's a month lead time on raw materials. So you have to do a lot of planning, a lot of scheduling. An area we definitely probably need to improve on. We tend to overbuy, which that basically just shows up on your balance sheet. Having all these raw materials, and it's better to be. You want to get items right in time. Because then, it's basically a bank account. It's all in stock. Like right now, we probably over $1 million in raw materials. It's like we probably need $500,000 in raw materials, and that would be in the bank account, not in,
So you
raw
always
goods.
have to have a few million on the side to make sure you're gonna have enough in like 2 months or 3 months ahead.
You gotta have
Otherwise, you're not
cash
gonna,
in the bank. You don't want to go out of business. So
otherwise
cash
you're
is
not
king.
yeah, like Filter King, right?
Yeah.
So how many people you have like close to you in the office? Let's say, because you have the employees, you have
Just
managers.
a handful. I'd say 4 or 5. It's
4 or
very
5?
few. That's one thing at my focus on. I need to bring in more executive talent, especially if we're going to be expanding out to Arizona. It's a whole nother operation that we got to run. Luckily, the plant manager I have now, it's a husband and wife team. They're great. They're willing to move to the next facility to open it. So
you need people for this specific industry who has experience, or anybody can has like a good attitude, has a good drive, can learn it pretty much.
I think anybody with a good attitude, a can-do attitude, then
Yeah.
that's half the battle. Like you can learn anything. Experience is always great. I just never been that lucky enough to find people with experience in my niche ever. It's like very difficult, very rare to kind of find someone like that.
Oh, I see.
I will say the best people that you want to hire aren't looking for a job. So I have actually had some success, basically cold outreach on LinkedIn, finding people.
Cold call?
Cold reach. So,
cold
you
reach.
connect on LinkedIn, you add a note like, hey, I saw your title. I'd love to connect and talk more about, your experience in, finance. And then they always message you back and you're like, oh, actually, I'm looking to hire someone. Would you be interested? And most of the time they're always interested. And those hires are always way better than, like an Indeed listing.
Oh, I see. Last question I have. What is your idea of growing? Like, how far you want to go? Like, you want to be the number one? Because you said there's only 4 company in nationwide.
Well,
Does the same
four
as you.
companies that make filter frames. Filter manufacturers, there's probably hundreds, but
Oh,
so basically just the raw component. But every manufacturer has to buy a frame. So like we're one of 4 that sell the frames. But Filter King, like our largest competitor is Filter Buy. They do about 200 million a year. We want to beat them. So they have 10 locations. They do 100,000 filters a day. We do barely 200,000 filters a month. So they're way bigger.
yeah, they're bigger. But they have multiple locations. You said 10 locations, right?
About 10, I believe. Yes.
And you have only one? Or
Only one.
Are you planning to open another one, right?
That's what we're talking about, Arizona.
Okay, that's cool. So probably we'll be back in like a year from now, and we'll see like
Hopefully 6
How-
more centers.
how the business like triggered and growth. And I hope you can get back to us and do another podcast, or maybe we're gonna go out and just recording how the process is going in the warehouse, and then we can give you more content to show how to run this whole operation, and hopefully see you back soon, and we can get like very interesting new project in the future. So thank you for coming.
Thank you, Roland. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.